Howdy everybody, it's Kentucky Ranger, and today we're going to show you how to change the Serpentine belt on the 2015 Subaru Outback 3.6. Here you can see we're going to have to remove the engine baffle. It's not that hard. Where my hands are at, there's two posts, and you can see you have to pull up on it, and there's two rubber pins, and it pops out. Then you have to pull it forward and take it off. It's that simple, and just place that off to the side. Excuse me. And that way you got better access to the engine. You really ain't going to be able to do it without. See, there's the little pin, and it goes into it'll poke into little rubber grommets in the back. And then there's two square, or rectangular, however you want to look at it, keys in the front. And that is how you're going to figure out how to put it back on once you get it done. I'll show you here what the receptacles look like on the engine. Okay, if you look, see, they're rubber, so they don't rattle around. There's the two rectangular square, or rectangular square. There's the two keys for the front. Then there's the two rubber grommets in the back that you push the posts in to lock it into place. Now, before you begin, okay, the bolt you see, the real shiny bolt, that's the tensioning bolt. This is a non-spring loaded tensioner. And before you adjust that, you can see down here, you have a locking bolt. I'll show it. It's kind of hard to see down in there. You can see the bolt, see it in there. You have to loosen that before you adjust the tensioner, because if you don't, you'll end up breaking the bolt. So there's the that's the tensioning bolt, and that's the locking bolt. Always loosen the locking bolt first. Then you can see it's simple. Just two tools is all you need. 11mm socket, and I think, what is that, a 12mm? I can't tell. Anyhow, I'll have that up in the description there. Couldn't see that, my eyes are going. Anyhow, like I say, of course it's going to take you a little longer than that, but you've got to loosen the locking bolt before the tensioner can move, and then you take as much tension out as you can out of the tensioner. Yeah, it's really straightforward. It's not that hard to do. I don't know if the later models, like the 2016 to 2018 Generation 5, has the spring loaded. That's something you're going to have to check. This is a 2015, so it doesn't. And anyhow, you take the old belt off. It can be cantankerous sometimes, but it's not really that hard. I'm making it look harder than it actually is. It was so bloody hot the day I did this. Anyhow, you get it off. How you inspect it, these newer belts, you can't really tell their age. You kind of can. You can see that it's a little shiny. There's no cracking. If you've got cracking in between these V's, you really got to you got to replace the belt. Now, I'm doing this, and kind of early. I've only got 40,000 miles. I'm doing it for a reason. You'll see why. Anyhow, that's the day code number for the replacement belt. And you're going to keep that little box, that little sleeve, and I'll show you why at the end. You always check to make sure it's the same length. Now the new belt is going to be a little shorter than the old belt, because it's not stretched out. The old belt's stretched out. But yeah, you can see it's nice shiny new rubber. You want to make sure that the V's, that they count, you have the same number of V's in there, because if you don't, it won't fit. It won't fit properly. Anyhow, just put that belt aside. Don't throw it in the garbage, and I'll explain why at the end. Now we're going to put the belt back in. Now this can be cantankerous, especially, you can see down there, you got to put it down around the harmonic balancer. You know, I mean, it's pretty straightforward how it fits. It doesn't have to fit around a whole lot, so it's not like you're going to lose track of how it went in. But it's a good idea if you're going to do this, take a picture with your cell phone real quick, so you kind of have a reference just in case. But you know, it's really pretty straightforward where the belt goes, the belt placement. But here I'm just putting the new belt in, and I'm still struggling with it. Okay, you really want to make sure down around the harmonic balancer that you get it, because it's really hard to see down there. You want to make sure you get all of the little V's into the little slots, and you know, it just takes a little fiddling. There's not a lot of room down there at the bottom, but it's really not that difficult. It's just it can be cantankerous. And another thing you'll notice once I get the belt close is that tensioner. See, I'm backing off that tensioning bolt. Get as much tension out of that tensioner pulley as you can, because with a new belt it'll just barely fit. I'll show you a little trick that I do, because most cars are like this, especially if you don't. It's so much easier. I don't know why they didn't put a spring-loaded tensioner in here, but they didn't. Anyhow, you see, I'm having kind of a hard time getting it in there. Okay, we're going to fast forward through this. You want to make sure you get everything just right. You got to back that tensioner off completely. And you're still going to have a little trouble getting the new belt on, because the new belt's going to be a little bit shorter, because like I said, it hasn't been stretched out in the last 40,000 miles like the old belt. So anyhow, fidgeting around trying to get it situated here. Sometimes it goes smoother than other times. This time, like I said, it was really hot out that day, and I wasn't in a very good mood. Okay, now you can see once I get that done, I've got my little friend chapstick. You just put a little dab of chapstick on the edge of the belt and on the edge of the pulley there, and it just kind of helps you slip it to get it, because that's how tight this is. You'll even hear it'll pop. I'll get it over there. So now I got it in, and you don't use much. You just a teeny tiniest little dab, just enough to get that belt over. That's all you have to do. So now that it's in, what you want to do is go around and check and make sure that all the ridges and the V's and everything is lined up with the pulleys, that you're not over a tooth or you know, out of alignment. Okay, now you run the tensioner back up, get the tension back in the belt, and don't get it too tight right now, because what we're going to do is test this just to make sure that everything is lined up, because it's really hard to see down under. And here, what I'm doing, I'm not completely tightening this. I'm getting the tension back on it to hold it all together, because I'm getting ready to start the engine to make sure. I'm just going to bump the engine to make sure that everything's okay. And you're going to see why we do this here in just a second. I'm going to run up to the car now. I'm just going to bump it on off. And see the belt. Apparently what had happened is I didn't quite get it lined up down around the harmonic balancer, so it popped back. So everything's cool now, and I'm going to get out. I'm going to check and get a flashlight. I'm going to check real good and make sure everything's lined up where it needs to be. Everything looks good. Now I'm going to put the tension to it. And when you tension a belt, you want to put a real firm You want to poke your finger right in the middle of the belt, and it shouldn't flex more than 1/4 to 1/2 an inch, just right around 1/4 of an inch. Now they do have gauges that you can buy, but just good firm pressure. There's got to be a little play, but not a whole lot. Now I'm going to go and start the engine again, and I want to make sure that everything's cool. You know, you got to check and double. I'm gonna get back. Okay, so nothing happened, so everything's fine. I got it. Everything's lined up. You want to do that just because you really want to make sure that the belt is completely lined up. Now that it is, I'm going to check the tension again. See how I'm pushing? It's a good firm push, and the tension's perfect. See, watch. You push it, it shouldn't flex more than 1/4 to 1/2 an inch. Now there's going to be some mechanics out there arguing with me, but this really does work. You know, just good firm, not, you know, where you're going to break your finger, but good firm pressure. Okay, check it again, make sure everything's all good, lined up, good to go. Final inspection. You want to do this with a good bright flashlight so you can see. You see, you'll see here how it way down in there where the harmonic balancer. See, you want to make sure everything's lined up, make sure everything's perfect. Now once you do it, now you're going to final tension on the locking bolt to make sure that the tensioner is not going to move. It's going to lock it in place. So now I got that locked in place. Keep checking, make sure. Like I said, tension is everything. You don't want to over tension a belt because it'll cause the belt to prematurely age. Plus, it'll put too much pressure on the bearings, and you can run into problems with your bearings on your alternator and your air conditioner. I'm going to start it up. I'm going to let it run. Everything's looking good. Get out the flashlight. I'm going to check to make sure everything's copacetic down in there. Everything looks good. Nothing's wobbling, nothing's squeaking. Plus, before you start your engine, you want to make sure all the tools are cleared out. Don't be leaving tools laying around on your engine because they could fall down and damage stuff. It's been done. I haven't done it, knock on wood, but I've seen it done, and yeah, you can cause bodily injury, and you can also cause a lot of damage to the engine. Everything seems to be working, so now I'm going to shut the engine off, and everything's looking good. See, it's really not hard to do this. Check tension just one more time, make sure. See, good firm pressure, and probably somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 inch of flex. That's all you want. So that's looking good. Like I say, now some parts stores, they might loan you a tension gauge, but now we're going to put this back on. You can see the there's the not the square. What am I thinking of? The rectangular hole, or the mount in the front. You want to line it up with those rubber rectangular nubs at the front of the engine. And then once you get that, you just push it down and it'll pop right on, and there it is. And I'll tell you something, I ran my car when I did this to see if it really makes a difference. You wouldn't believe how much sound that baffle reduces in the cabin of the car. Now here's why you save the belt and you save the sleeve. You take that belt, put it in the sleeve, so now you got the part number for a reference. You throw it in the back of your car. Now, another thing you want to keep in your car is a toolkit. See, I've got a toolkit there, and it's got all the basic tools I need, so if something happens out on the road, I'm not stranded. I'm good to go. Oh, and one other thing before I leave this, Subaru, I don't know if they're doing this in the later models. You see this bracket? You see how weird it looks because there's nothing in there? That's because that's where the power steering pump used to go. Now, I don't know later models. If you all are watching this, have a newer model, Outback. Let me know if that bracket's still there, because I think what they're doing is they wanted to keep that in there until they ran out of stock. At least that's what I think. I don't know. But anyhow, that's how you do it. It's not rocket science. It's really easy. And anyhow, God bless y'all. And if you have any troubles or questions, just leave them down in the comment section, and I'll be happy to answer. Y'all take care. Have a good day or good evening. I'll talk to you later. Bye.